got a middle, just what I thought. A hook shot, well, good! The Lakers take the lead on Magic Johnson's running sky hook.
And we're live. Welcome everybody to your favorite day of the week. I'm Anthony Irwin, joined on this Hallows Eve by PJs. Peter, are you a Halloween guy?
Not in terms of dressing up, but it is one of my favorite holidays, just in terms of like seeing everyone's creativity with it. And it was one of those things that, like, as a kid, it was a big deal, and then I feel like it turned into like this huge thing that's gotten bigger and more elaborate. And so I always like seeing people's costumes. We got a lot of neighborhood kids out here, so you got the little sorted candies and whatnot. So how about you, man? It's way more fun in your position with a couple of little ones.
Yeah, like
yes and no. You're like, easy for you to say.
Yeah, because I've never been a big Halloween guy.
Oh, really?
Like, I've just
what's
it's
your
never
problem
really
with
been my deal.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm ambivalent about it.
Okay.
If anything, I think the people who are way too into Halloween are a little weird. But
it is a little, you can take it too far for sure.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I've always been kind of, it's fun. I'll participate, and I do think that like the creativity aspect of it is cool. Like I have some neighbors whose houses look awesome and stuff, and like and yes, like watching the kids run around today is going to be really fun. It's going to be the first Halloween where Miles can really participate, where Avery's been doing this a little while, and this is going to be the first time where Miles is going to like kind of understand what's going on. So that'll be really cool. He's going to have pink hair. And so yeah, like that's fun. I'm actually way more excited for Christmas. I'm a big Christmas guy.
Okay. All right.
And I already told Jen, I was like, hey, we can't decorate the outside yet. There are HOA rules for that kind of stuff, but they can't say shit about the inside. So Christmas tree's going up on Sunday, like first day of. I just love the way that it makes the house feel and stuff. So that's kind of what I look forward to.
Damn, they got rules for when you could put up Christmas lights?
Dude, I don't even get me started on HOAs.
Right.
It's so un-American. I own this land. I own this property. You don't get to tell me what I can and cannot do with my house. No, whatever. That is my libertarian take. That is but anyway, we'll go ahead and get started today. We actually have a ton to talk about. The Lakers have played 5 games so far today. We have seen a leap forward from Austin Reaves that I don't think anybody saw coming. So we got to talk about that. Luka Doncic might play tonight. He might make his return tonight. Marcus Smart says that he will probably make his return tonight. So that's exciting. We are kind of inching closer to LeBron making his return, only a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks away from that as well. And the Lakers, I was kind of laughing at this earlier today because Kurt Goldsberry put up his efficiency standards and his efficiency graph for all of the teams around the league, and the Lakers are kind of like smack dab in the middle of it. And Pete, if you would have told me going into the season that the Lakers were going to miss Luka for the first, half of the first 5 games or so, and LeBron isn't going to play at all, and Marcus Smart is going to be in and out of the lineup, and that Jackson Hayes also wasn't going to be able to really play very much, I would have said, oh, sweet, the Lakers are 0-5, and we're talking about LeBron trade stuff already, huh? But no, it's really like the Lakers have been able to stay afloat. Austin Reaves appear to be, at least on the offensive side of the ball, a freaking dynamo. And here we stand. So what have the first 5 games been like for you?
It's been super exciting. It's been a mix of frustrating and exciting, right? Because seeing the talent level on paper, it's like this year's team has a great chance to be amazing on offense. And then the preseason and training camp going like it went. Yeah. I felt like a kid in a car, like on a long road trip. Like, are we there yet? Like, can we get this shit started? Like, can we get our guys actually playing? And part of that is a level of excitement, that I can't wait for all of it to come together. But seeing, and sometimes being forced into certain circumstances, you can learn some things, and you actually have to problem solve and fight your way through it, and not just be like, oh, we'll just give the ball to Luka if our Austin Ayton ball screen is getting disrupted by Minnesota late in the game and we don't know what to do, right? Like, no, you have to fight through that and figure out what the solution is to those problems. And so I'm extremely excited. I think LeBron slots wonderfully next to Ayton and Luka. You know what I'm saying? Like that 4 next to the 5. Like, I don't know. I just see a lot of really high end potential for the offense, and we'll see if they can be good enough on defense. I think they've got some lineups that have defended pretty well. So I don't know. There's a lot there to be excited about.
Yeah, I was optimistic coming into the season. I like this roster. I think that there are still steps to take roster wise but I think they have done more than enough to prove that this is a team worth investing into. You have Luka, who before he went down looked like, frankly, the best player in the sport, in my opinion. I think Austin looks like an all-star, and LeBron is coming off of an all-NBA season, so I don't think there's going to be a precipitous drop-off there. That right there is a reason enough for me to be like, they could fuck around and do some stuff this year. I also think that we've learned, like you've said, a lot about these guys, and I think we've learned a lot about the league. Like one of the things that's the final bullet point there, I legitimately think this is one of those like special seasons.
It's got an amazing energy. It came out of the gates
Oh
just
my
with
God.
amazing games, and you got Wemby doing incredible things with San Antonio, just all over the league. There's cool stuff happening.
Yeah, I was listening to your guys' pod with Jason that you guys did this last week. I forget what day it was. I listened to it today. I don't believe it's your most recent episode, but I was listening to him talk, and he was talking about Steph and how Steph kind of recognizes that his team could maybe do some stuff, and he thought that we would get a good Steph start, and we have, and I was looking around the league and I was like, damn, we do have a great Steph start. LeBron's going to come back. I think he kind of senses that the Lakers could maybe do some stuff. Jokic is still, right there. He's easily, like, he had to correct reporters the other day, Pete, in saying that no, triple doubles aren't easy to get. Like, I thought that was a funny quote from him. You said Wemby's ascendance and getting the San Antonio Spurs, who are a really good franchise after their best start ever, first 5-0 start ever. Yeah. Giannis looks incredible too, right? And Milwaukee seems like they might be an interesting team as well. And I'm like, I don't know if you ever read this column that Simmons used to write, but he used to write about, or it might be in his book, where he was like, we should give out different trophies for different championships, right? Like different size trophies for different championships. And if it was like a really, really good season of basketball, it would be this big, elaborate thing. And if it was any Lakers championship, in his opinion, it would be some like small little dinky thing. This might be the greatest by his stand, like by that rule, right? If we were to find it, this might be one of the greatest seasons of all time. Like, I'm not kidding.
Really?
Oh my God, I'm so freaking pumped. Every single night, we have our TV set up, and then I have the projector set off to the side so that I could watch NBA stuff while Jen and I also watch whatever we can watch at the end of a night and kind of unwind. Every single night, I wind up flipping it over because I'm like, Jen, look at what this guy's doing. And she's like, oh shit, like we got to put this on the main TV. And we wind up finishing nights with 2 screens of basketball because I just think the basketball that's being played right now is at such an incredible level. And the Lakers are a part of it. Like, that's the thing, is that like the Lakers are very much a part of that dynamic. So I want to start though, Pete, with Austin. I think he's the story in the Lakers universe right now, which is crazy, seeing as Luka Doncic and LeBron James are also a part of that universe. But Austin has been incredible. And I was listening to your guys' talk about how, LeBron figures into this when he comes back, and I'll let you make some of those points. But one thing that I was thinking about just today that I haven't heard this point made is that Luka and LeBron are both very strong hand dominant players. And they both like going to, like, Luka, if he's driving to his left, he's looking to get to that step back, plant back, and create space that way, right? If he's going to his right, he more often than to his left, he'll try to get to the basket. And he's more physical that way. LeBron has the greatest left leg in the history of the sport. So he's trying to get to that left leg to elevate and stuff like that too. And if he's going to his left, he's kind of looking to stick his shoulder into somebody and lean back and get some space that way. And not what I think will really help in making the Lakers offense really dynamic when all three of Luka, LeBron, and Austin are available is Austin's one of those rare players who I actually think is more confident or comfortable with the ball in his left hand. And he kind of likes to kind of drift along to his left side, and he can actually get to the basket using his left or his right. And that ability, like that adds, I think, an angle to this offense when those three guys are available that I think makes it like they're already going to be really difficult to guard anyway. But if you can attack from both sides of the court in the way that they can because of Austin's ability to go left and get all the way to the hoop going left, I don't know what defenses do here. I truly do not.
Yeah, no, it's if they do this right, there's going to be just some devastating pick your poison scenarios that I like this point. I like this idea of Austin, and I think you can make that point in conjunction with his foot speed. That's not really at this point the way that either Luka or LeBron attack quite the same way, right?
He's getting downhill so easily.
And so, yeah, that ability to slash and gouge a defense, especially after there's going to be some degree of, advantage created by other guys too now, whether on the ball or off. But that's the thing too, in terms of like what we've learned, Austin needs to stay on the ball a lot, right? It can't be, he can't move off to be this side character, third option type of guy. Now, however, he's not LeBron or Luka, although he's certainly, putting up the numbers of those type of guys early on. That's not really the point that I'm making. It's just the giving him the ball more frequently that I don't think he can be moved. There will be some matchups like Jason, I thought, brought up OKC as a good point. That there will be some teams that have perimeter defenders that are more speed based, and guys like Wallace and Caruso, Dort, they're all more going to beat you on the ground, where our power ball handlers between Luka and LeBron, I think those are how you break down an OKC perimeter defense more than the speed of Austin. But a lot of nights, and on these teams that have these big slow-footed bigs that want to protect the rim and all of that, Austin is just such a great it's like having a pitcher that can throw a great fastball but also has a nasty slider from the same arm release angle, like just the multitude multiple attacks from the squad. I'm excited.
Yeah, I love the like it was funny when the Lakers, they lost that big lead against Minnesota, and you're like, damn it, this could have been such a fun freaking win or whatever. But then as soon as Austin got the ball at the top of the key and you knew that he had to attack Gobert quickly, right? It wasn't a spot where you could just pull the switch out and then attack him from a stationary position. I was actually really confident. I didn't know that the shot was going in, but I was super confident that Austin was going to create a shot in that moment, a good one, and probably for himself because there was only 6 seconds left. And I think the lesson to take from that, and this is what I'm talking about, like we've learned a lot, I think, about what the Lakers can do and what maybe they should do in some of these spots. But like you and I remember we previewed the Minnesota series last year, and we talked about getting Gobert into the blender. And the thing that was so frustrating watching that series, let alone rewatching it, was how often they just let him switch, set his feet, and then have 10 eyes on the ball handler. And in this case, they still had 10 eyes on the ball handler because it was Austin and Luka wasn't available and LeBron wasn't available. So in and of that point, there are going to be fewer eyes on whoever has the ball no matter what. But very importantly there, the key to that play, I thought, was going quickly and making Gobert switch in space while he is sliding his feet and then asking him to plant that right foot and get back into the play when Austin splits the screen or makes that Mark Price dribble to get through the screen. And it was just like, Gobert can't do that.
No,
and
that was an adjustment, Anthony. They had been running from the top, like from half court, a lot of like flat angle where Austin's shoulders started more parallel to the baseline. But on
Mhm.
that last one, I loved what they did with it's sort of like an L that Mark Price dribble that you're talking about, splitting it. But it starts with Austin going from sideline to sideline and then
Yeah.
cutting, right? And so that gets Gobert having to change direction, and now you're in business.
Yeah, it reminded me we're in football season 2 here, right? It
Yeah.
reminded me of like a hole opening up,
Yeah.
right? Where and like the term that they use, like, damn, you could have driven a minivan through that hole. And it's like there was that size hole because Rudy Gobert can't do that.
No.
Like that hole closes up really quickly if Gobert can set his feet and just stay in front. That hole opens up because Gobert is being asked to go side to side and then get back into the plane. He cannot do that. And those are the things that, like, I hope one of the lessons that is being learned by the Lakers here early on is no, they are not the most athletic team. They're probably well below average athletically, but I do think they have the brain power and the skill involved to make defenses move by way of ball movement and player movement and stuff like that. That if they do that right, if they get teams, and like one team that I've been really curious and really fascinated watching has been the Miami Heat, because they're just like they're playing at this insane pace and
We talked
they
about
are
that.
not operating off of ball screens. They're setting the fewest screens in the league, basically. They're not throwing very many passes, but it's because they're just going, they're getting stops and they're going, because I think Eric Spoelstra, who for my money is the best coach in the sport, he kind of recognizes we don't have the talent to be a half court grinded out execute type
With
team.
Hero out, you got Powell out now too. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely.
We just gotta go. We gotta, run. And in the regular season, teams don't like running as much because it's an 82 game season. And it's created advantages for themselves. And I'm not expecting the Lakers to run in the same manner that Miami has been running, but I do think one thing they can take away from their success early, Miami's success early, is move that ball, right? Get that ball going side to side, put these teams in a blender, because as the sport has gotten bigger, it's also gotten clunkier for some of these teams that have relied on that size. And that clunk, that size doesn't want to move. What do you think about the Lakers being able to potentially move, heaven and earth,
Sure.
literally sometimes to get to have some success?
I think a lot of that has to do with how quickly they get into their offense.
Totally.
A lot they're so ball screen heavy, and there's plenty of reason to do it. You've got great ball handlers to do that, but so much is handoff and ball screen centric that one of the things I've liked about Austin, you alluded to this in a comment a moment ago, is that he's attacking early enough to be able to launch a second attack. He's also making better decisions on deciding, this first attack is okay, but not good enough. Let's reset and try to get a second one. And so it's really how much can the defense be moved on that first attack to set up that second one. So like one thing that's happening from time to time is Austin Ayton will run their ball screen and it's an okay look, but not enough. And then that flows into an Austin Rui pick and pop.
Yeah.
And even if Rui doesn't have the open pick and pop, he'll get a lane to rack a closeout. And, it's a mid-range pull-up that's a very comfortable shot for Rui type of thing.
Yeah.
But last year, the Lakers weren't getting to the second part all of that often. They really had time to do that first thing. And then it's like, okay, we've got 8 seconds left. Let's
Grenade.
One-on-one. Yeah. Good luck. Right. And so, I think the manner in which they do that, a lot of other teams, and I know there's this yearning, understandably so, for more off-ball screens, more off-ball movement and things like that. I think you need the personnel to do that. Lakers don't have really many shooters that I'm like, oh, that guy's open coming off of a screen, off of lateral movement. We really have to get out to him. That if we did have better guys at that, and maybe Dalton comes on at that, maybe Arabia does, but not really holding out too much. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think they're more like relocation shooters than they are like motion shooters.
Exactly. And so, but they've gotten better at that, like the relocations, the screen setting, the mid-play drive and kick type of stuff. That's part of my excitement, is they've really gotten a lot better at that. And so that helps move the defense too. Sometimes you get a little bit of an advantage, but a good ball fake by LaRavia on a swing can extend that advantage. And now you got a big old lane to the basket, or another skip pass for an open 3 type of thing.
Yeah, I just love the way that the Lakers at least conceptually can play, and it's the brand of basketball that I think I'm most drawn to is ball motion and creating advantages that way. And then also, very importantly, having the personnel to take advantage of those advantages, right? Like, I don't necessarily agree with starting Rui, but what I can say though is that all 5 of those players can attack a switch, right? Like all 5 of those guys, if you start Austin, Luka, LeBron, Rui, and Ayton, and the wrong guy gets switched onto them, they are going to feast on that wrong guy. And if you can move the ball enough, if you can, because like one thing that, like the Warriors are really, really good at, right, is scramming those screens and getting, when you create that advantage, getting like eliminating that advantage as quickly as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And you can do that if you have one guy on the other team who you can kind of lay off of,
I'm not too
and
worried if we can take a little time to send this guy from the corner to help you out. So Steph, you're not guarding the big, offensive threat right in the paint. And if that guy gets to skip past 3, it's fine.
Yeah, right. But like with that group of 5, that guy doesn't really exist. And like I'd be really curious what the Warriors would do against the Lakers if the Lakers had all of their guys available. LeBron coming back, like my favorite take recently, the take that Harrison and I literally laughed at it yesterday on the air, but like my favorite take recently has been like, is Austin looking this good? What does that mean for LeBron? And it's like, do the Lakers need LeBron James? And my question to people is like, just say the sentence out loud.
Yeah,
again.
say it out loud, right? Yeah.
Does a basketball team need LeBron James?
Yes.
What are we doing?
Right.
And there's no other team that you would like that question would be asked about, by the way. Like if team X was getting their second or third best player back, there would never be any like, is this a problem? But like with LeBron coming back, and I had reported over the summer that he was really working on his off of the catch effectiveness. And it was something that he actually mentioned at Media Day, echoed it at Media Day, that was something that he was really working on. And especially now with Austin looking as good as he does on the ball, I actually think you can move LeBron into not a low usage role. It would be stupid to put LeBron in low usage, but I think you can make him, he's now allowed to pick his spots in ways that he has literally never been allowed to do. And that also, like, the Lakers desperately need any kind of defense and rebounding presence. LeBron's the dude coming back who can actually offer that. And I'm really excited. Like, one of the things that, like, there was that first game where I thought his vibes on the sideline were kind of weird and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think it's good that people called him out for it, noted it out and stuff. And since then, he's been more active. He's tweeting about Austin's performances. He's doing, like, I think he senses that this team can do something. I saw somebody added me. I haven't seen anybody else talk about it, so I don't think it's actually true. But there was, like, Shams apparently said that, like, LeBron's vibes or something like that are up in the air. I haven't seen it from literally any, like, I Googled it and I haven't seen it, so I don't think that's true. I think he's in. Like, I think he's in on this team. And I think he's taking real clear note on what this team needs him to do. And of any basketball player in the history of the sport, Pete, he is equipped to do whatever it is that the Lakers need him to do. I can't wait to get him back. Where do you stand on this one?
I'm thrilled about this because he can be whoever he wants to be on a night-to-night basis. That includes he can take a shift and mostly stand in the corner if he needs to rest and if he wants to.
Yeah.
And when he's tried to do that in the past, a lot of times the offense has fallen off of a cliff because we didn't have anybody else that could really do that on a regular basis, or we had to put all offensive lineups out there in order for that. And then that would cause issues on the defensive end, on the boards and things like that. And so there needs to be a version of, I'm like, he's still LeBron James, right? Let's not act like he's going to just stand in the corner.
Yeah.
But he's been begging for more ball handling help for years and years. And to turn that eventually into Luka Doncic and what Austin has become, that's just an incredible amount of ball handling help. They will need, though, to have a version of the team where LeBron does have the ball. And Luka will need to learn how to play better off of him. Austin will have to tap into some of that experience that he has in doing that. But I I couldn't be more excited about how it looks on paper, because I think that, yeah, like LeBron is freed up to make a choice, where in the past it's like, if you don't assume that on ball responsibility, we don't have
Nobody.
anybody who's good enough to like really lead it. And so, yeah, super excited about this.
Well, also like he also becomes uncomfortable with ceding that responsibility. Like in those years past when the Lakers have tried to give him like Dennis Schroeder and Russ and stuff like that, that like eventually he's the smartest basketball player that I've ever watched. And he looks at it and he's like, this team needs me to do this.
Yeah,
You
those guys
know?
aren't good enough at,
Yeah.
like, yeah, they're not the level of player that he can really give the keys over to.
Yeah. And I think with Luka on the team and with like he ceded that responsibility to Austin a couple of years ago, right? They started running down the stretches of games, pick and rolls where he was setting screens for Austin.
Mhm.
You know, that's the ultimate sign of respect. That's 2 years ago. This is now a couple of years later where Austin is running the offense at elite levels
Yeah.
without those guys also on the court with them. So I'm really curious to see what that's going to look like. By the way, this just came in. Luka and Smart have both been upgraded to probable
Let's
for the
go.
game tonight, according to the Lakers. So I can't wait. Luka coming back. This is something I was in Costco and I was kind of getting ready for tonight. And one thing that I thought about is how teams take on the personality of its best player, and when Austin was the team's best player, or while Austin has been the team's best player, Austin is this really kind of scrappy guy who gets every ounce out of like he squeezes every ounce out of every all the ability that he can from himself, and then it just goes into the game in an effort to play at the level that he has. And I have thought that the Lakers have really kind of tapped into that identity as a group over the last few games, where I think their level of compete has been really, really high.
Mhm.
And this isn't, I guess, for lack of a better term, one concern that I have is with Luka coming back, with LeBron coming back, will the Lakers continue to operate with that identity? Because it's one thing for LeBron and Luka to, they can kind of coast and still be incredible basketball players. Rui
Mhm.
can't.
Sure.
Uh, Aiton can't. Like the role players that the Lakers have, they have to continue. You use the phrase they have to carry forward with the inertia that
Oh, the inertia.
that they're
Yeah,
bringing
yeah.
into this moment when those guys are coming back.
Mhm.
That I think really applies to the role players. You were talking about it more from the perspective of like LeBron and Luka when they come back, but I think it's really, really key for the role players to continue competing at the level that they've been competing lately.
Mhm.
Am I overthinking it by thinking like those guys might come back and there might be some like, oh, we got these guys back, we can kind of coast? Like I that's the last thing I want to see.
There will be an element of that for sure.
Yeah.
I do think that this has been valuable time for, say, a guy like Laravia, who has been a bit gun shy in terms of his taking open shots and things like
Mhm.
that. And I think that maintaining the level of competitiveness, I want to see it in more of a specific way, in that I think execution on the offensive end specifically it's not, offense isn't the first place you think of in terms of competing, right? It's like
Mhm.
defend,
Yeah.
rebound, right? But this team has so much talent on the offensive level that if they stay locked in and kind of on the path that they're already on, they can, I think they can outscore a good amount of teams, right? From on
Yeah.
a 82 game type of basis. But it'll also build something more long term that I think this is going to be a very difficult Lakers team to guard if they stay
Mhm.
focused on that. And so even on the nights where, like, this is a thing Trudell would always say, and it's true, is that you're not going to play harder than the other team 82 games a year, because
Mm-mm.
they're trying to do the same thing to you. But I do think that there is a level
Especially as a
of,
Lakers team that like they
right,
always get the other
everybody gets
team's
up for the
best punch.
Lakers. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, right?
Yeah.
And so, yes, of course, they have to continue to compete and do all the things that they've done and be scrappy as they've been over the course of this week. But I think there's a level of talent and skill and execution that you don't have to be like frantically diving all over the place, or it's like competing isn't all that. There's an element of intelligence and skill,
Yeah.
execution, attentiveness that you can, if you do that, you're going to get a lot of open shots that you don't have to quite do it the same way of getting all the bumps and bruises and turned ankles of the defensive end.
Yeah, the like one thing I've loved watching Ayton on this team is I actually think he's a much better screen setter than AD was. Obviously, AD is a significantly better player. So like, don't get me wrong here. I know I like I don't need that aggregated. I don't need that taken out of context. But I think Ayton's like he loves making contact on that screen, and he loves wiping dudes out on that screen. Because he also like the thing that used to drive me nuts with watching AD set screens is he would set a screen for the sake of like kind of floating, you know, and kind of floating into an ISO possession. Whereas like Ayton, when he sets a screen, he's doing it to create an advantage for himself. He's setting a screen so that he creates space, not just obviously for the ball handler, but he also understands the better screen that I set, the more space I'm going to have when I turn and face the basket here, so that I could either get into the to the you know mid roll, or if I could get into these floaters and the mid range that I can like those are the things that he loves to be able to do there. And that to me is like a level of compete, right? Like when Ayton subs out and Jackson comes in, the screen setting has to remain at that level. That to me is like the consistent compete on the offensive side of it, because it is like a physicality thing. It's a attention to detail kind of a thing. The timing on those pick and rolls from the ball handler standpoint, like those are all things that, again, like the Lakers, in order to win these games, their margin for error the last few have been nothing, right? Even against the Kings, it required damn near an Austin Reaves 50-point triple-double to beat that Sacramento Kings team, who was going to be bad this year. Their win total is going to be in the 20s to 30s, I think, this year.
Oh, yeah.
And that margin for error is going to obviously go up now, but that to me doesn't mean that the level of compete should go down. Luka coming back, one thing that we started to see a little bit of, then he went down, obviously, was we did see a couple of Austin and Luka pick and roll possessions, and we did see some stuff with them operating on the same side of the court and stuff. Is there anything specific that you're watching for now that we've seen what Austin can do, and with Luka coming back? Is it just a continuation of what we were kind of starting to see in the first place?
Really a continuation of just I want both of them very much in attack mode. That Austin doesn't defer. That's one thing that when LeBron comes back as well, the idealized version is all three of them are looking to attack, and LeBron is the one I don't worry about Luka either in this respect, in that like LeBron's going to find his places to attack and get his 25. You can write that in pen in almost no matter what, right? But how deferential is Austin to that? Well, also like a lot of times in those first quarters, Luka's going to cook and he's going to have the ball on 75% of the possessions, and really what they're trying to get the defense to do is into that like, well, got to double Luka tonight type of decision late in the first quarter, early in the second, and then you play the 4-on-3 game after that. So, but really just a level of aggressiveness. And then in terms of the two-man action, one thing they've been doing that I like is using Luka as a screen setter, but to get him in triple threat position. So like, they ran with Gabe, right? Like Gabe, when he was healthy, they'd have Luka set a screen, and then they'd switch that or do whatever they'd do, and then he'd pass it right back to Luka right at the top of the 3-point line. But at that point, he's got a live dribble still available. He's in triple threat rather than just off of a live dribble. So just little stuff like that to create advantage and things like that. But really, it's both of them having very much an attacking mindset that I want to see.
Yeah, I'm excited to have two guys who could dribble across half court. That'll be nice. I also, when Luka comes back, and I think also, especially when LeBron comes back, one strong suit of this team is the way that it can operate out of the elbow or off of the elbow. And I really want to see the Lakers. Now, this is kind of tough to implement on the fly. They kind of have to implement everything on the fly now. But Slovenia as a national team, they had Luka operating as the fulcrum from the mid post area or the extended post area. And I really liked some of the looks that it was creating, because there's like Kobe used to do this, where it was my favorite place that Kobe would catch a basketball is in that free throw line extended kind of area where he was one dribble away from either getting all the way to the basket if he wanted to, or getting to his jumper that was just automatic. And teams had to shade desperately close to that play because that defender on an island could not deal with Kobe there. And I think Luka is just as talented with that. LeBron is also really, really good in that area of the floor as well. For that matter, Ayton is too, but I digress. One way that I think the Lakers can, what's a Rob Pelinka term I could use here? Dimension fortified. He's dimensionalized. Dimensionalized. I think he's used that word before. Is dimensionalized. But one way that they can diversify their offense is to sometimes have those guys operate as a fulcrum in the mid post there, and that's something that they can get going now with Luka with Austin playing the way that he is. What kind of looks would you be looking for? Is that something that you would want to see?
Very much so. I do think that our elbow touches are a little bit behind our ball screens at this point. And I included in the ball screens are sort of the extended touches, meaning that so on the double drags, sometimes, that's not on the elbow at the corner of the free throw line, but rather lifted above the 3-point line. Sometimes you'll throw it to Ayton and then run Austin off of that and hand it back off to him or something like that. That's not the type of elbow touches I'm talking about. I'm talking at that free throw line that you're referring to in a triple threat, back to the basket, you could face up and do all of that. I think the Lakers are not as advanced at that right now as they are on their ball screen stuff. I totally agree that can be something they can be great at. I think it's a great place to target a smaller player with Luka or LeBron. If we catch another team switching,
do this to the Warriors all day.
Yeah, do this to get pods on their back.
OKC, honestly, for that matter, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And
they're a smaller team.
And even there, like Luka can just hit that fadeaway over the top that he's so good at, and they're not going to be able to do anything about that. Nothing. So I think that's going to be a bigger part of the story as the Lakers season progresses. And so there's a lot of potential there. I don't think it's there yet. And I think the more conventional ball screen game is ahead of that, but lots of stuff there. And even ball screens there, like some great opportunities for 45 ball screens with LeBron on one elbow and Ayton on the other. I think there's a great potential for some phone booth basketball that some of the jumbo teams that, like the teams that have gotten bigger and are playing two bigs, there's just a different geometry to the court that you space it a little bit differently that I think the Lakers could be really good at, kind of playing in tight quarters between LeBron, Ayton, and Luka, all of those guys. And even Austin's ability to hit like leaners and floaters, like the game winner, things like that. There's a capacity in the paint, Rui's ability to pull up from that range, that they've got a lot of guys that I think they could be really good in that area.
Yeah, it's at like, God, what was it? It's the Watchmen line where the guy with the mask that changes, Rorschach, says to the inmates, oh, you guys have it all wrong. I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me. That's the kind of basketball I think that the Lakers can play here, where they get into such small quarters and they're so physically imposing. And LeBron is such a freaking like force of nature onto himself in those spots that there's nothing that can be done with him, right? Like, and I think that's an advantage that the Lakers are going to have against just about everybody outside of maybe a couple of teams that I think the Lakers would then be able to attack those teams a different way, and that's the thing that I love about the way that this team is built, at least offensively, is that there's no certain teams might have, it might be less of a disadvantage against those teams than other ones, but you could attack them in a different way creates a completely different advantage.
Exactly.
It's a really rare thing that a team checks all of the boxes that the Lakers can check off.
That's why I'm so excited, man, is that it's going to be very difficult to run the Lakers into roadblocks where they're like, we don't know what to do here on offense. We don't have the tools.
Yeah. So long as they get the reps. Like
they'll get there. It's a long season. I'm just anxious. Let's freaking go. Let's get it started.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to zoom out a little bit to the rest of the league, because we talked a little bit about like how epic a season that the Lakers or that the league can enjoy, I think, this year, and the caliber of basketball that I think we're going to see. We're like heading in, there was like a late push that I felt to include the Clippers in with like the elite contenders. And it was like, oh, we're doing this again, huh? And lo and behold, like they just look old. It's an older roster in terms of just average age than that Lakers roster with like Melo and all of those guys. It's the oldest roster in the history of the sport, and people were talking about it anyway. But like, to me, this is one of those seasons where like you have to have a story to you to have a chance at winning. And what I mean is that like this is Steph's maybe last best chance. This is LeBron's last best chance. This is Luka's opportunity for his first, right? Jokic can stamp his name into a completely different class of player and career if he wins one now, and like the reason that I didn't really think that the Clippers have that is because they don't have somebody on that level, right? Like that has that chapter of their story to write. What do you think? Like, given what we've seen so far from the Lakers and what we've seen from the league, what's the story that you've found yourself most drawn to?
Oh, aside from the Lakers, the Spurs, we brought them up earlier. They're, kind of Wemby's ascension. He's somebody that I was skeptical of. I don't think you can build a championship offense around a pick and pop big, right? And so much of his operation last year took like 10 threes a game, and a lot of them that's off of somebody else having the ball, right? And that for him to really take that step, it's got to be more of a we give you the ball and you can score. And so and now mind you, he's a good scorer anyway. I'm talking like championship number one option on the offensive end, along with his just freakish defensive talents and his shot making over the top. They've been without Fox to start this year, and they haven't missed a beat because Stephon Castle is picking up.
Dylan Harper looks so good.
Dylan Harper is. I really like Harper because he goes on the defensive end, right? Like it's rare that you say that about a young player, especially a lot of times a perimeter player that comes up as that's Ron Harper's kid. You know what I mean? That could very easily be, I'm the superstar on ball player that you got to teach him some things on defense. No, he goes on defense. They've got a few guys that do. And between those two, I think Devin Vassell has really locked into a role on that team that I admire his ability. Him and Johnson were both like 20-point per game guys for the Spurs at one point. Now, they weren't very good, but they've sort of taken a step back as these role players that can score, right? But it's hard for a young player. They're not that old. They're in their mid-20s. And so it can be those guys are looking to get paid and looking for things like that. And so that like ability to I don't want to say downgrade. I think they end up making themselves more money in the long term by being a good, solid role player. I just admire players that can do that the way that Vassell and Johnson have so far. So yeah, how good are the Spurs? Then the Rockets and Mavericks are going jumbo sized. And like, what does that look like offensive wise?
It's like, they remind me, remember when the Lakers had like Powell and Odom and Bynum, and then they had like Kobe, and Fisher was still the guard there, right? And they technically could have gone like super duper jumbo, but Phil was always reluctant to because of the spacing and because of the foot speed concerns there. And like, what's crazy is because like Thompson is such a freak athlete, because KD is such a freak athlete as well.
That, like, shooter too. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like you can be that tall and still be that fast. And yeah, Houston is just one of those teams that like it just appears to suck to play that team. Like every single guy is physical or athletic or both. They're going to be good. I was a little skeptical of them, and I think they're going to be really good. I still think they need a point guard, though.
I think. Go ahead. I'm skeptical of them in the way that like people talk about them as this presumptive. Of course, they're at the top of the Western Conference in ways that they never do that with the Lakers. That I don't think that they get a level of benefit of the doubt that, especially with the Van Vliet injury and their lack of guard play, I don't. But that's part of why I'm intrigued by the storyline. And I just love this like diversity of how teams play around the league. Is it's not this homogenous everybody. Like look at like I know the Pacers are like 0-4 now, but they play this totally wild style of ball. You're talking about Miami adopting what Memphis did last year in terms of the minimal ball screens, dribble drive, motion offense principle, dribble pitch, type of Bam is taking 7 threes a game out of nowhere. There's just such a diversity in how the game's played at this point that it's been cool to see.
styles make fights, and this year there are so many
A lot of
styles that
yeah,
like
yeah.
it just like no matter what, and that's kind of what I was talking about, where it's like every single night there's a matchup that I'm like, ooh, that's
Ooh,
interesting.
that's a good one. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
that referee in the boxing ring who's like, ooh, like Rockets Magic. All right, I can see it. I can see. Like it's just you pull out any two names out of a hat, and there's going to be something to watch there, and I think the Lakers figure into that. Like the Lakers are going to be this Rubik's Cube that I just don't think teams can solve defensively, let alone, Pete. Like one of the things that I'm really excited about with this Lakers team is in the postseason when like if they get 7 games to figure out a defense, they're going to. And the longer that series go, I think the better that the Lakers offense is going to get, so long as they get the reps and so long as they buy into the stuff. And I have found myself, even though Luka came out and scored, what was it, like 92 points in the first 2 games as a Laker, or first 2 games of the season. Like, even though he was scoring at that clip, and even though we've seen it go from Luka ball to Austin ball, I think that was out of necessity. I'm not at all concerned that they'll be overly reliant on Luka ball or Austin ball or LeBron ball. Like I that's not a thought. I thought that was something that I'd be nervous about, like kind of consistently. It hasn't crossed my mind basically since the season started because of how great those 2 guys have looked. There's no reason to be overly reliant on one guy, while Austin is also capable of doing what he's doing. And then you get LeBron James back.
I think it's a huge asset to have that. Is that you've got 3 nasty pitches to throw that are all pretty different from each other. That, like you said, in the course of a 7-game series, now that it goes by fast though. We saw it with Redick and in that series there, right? Like the playoffs are a whole different animal. That even a guy like Austin, with as great as he's looked to start out this season, he's got plenty of prove-its ahead of him, and no more important than as an on-ball guy in the playoffs.
Austin focusing on strength to the extent that he did this summer. That was one of the things that I was hearing, that he was kind of a monster in the weight room all summer. And he knocked, oh God, who was it?
He got Klingon on one.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, Klingon is a big dude.
He's an oak tree.
I was like, who's this, Austin? Like,
yeah, because it wasn't a flop. It was like a legit.
No, it was a boom. Yeah.
Yeah, it was contact with his shoulder, and he knocked him back. And I was like, hold on, that's not something he could do last year, And I think that physicality is going to help him on both sides of the ball in the playoffs. And I think it's something that's going to get better, by the way, over the course of the season. Like, you don't get less strong over the course of an 82-game season. You might get more tired and all of those things. But I think if you enter a season looking for physicality, I don't think that goes away. All right. Well, this has been fun, man. I'm nervous because when I'm optimistic, bad stuff tends to happen. So what should I be like? What should I be nervous about? The Dodgers. I'm nervous about the Dodgers. You want to know my Halloween costume?
What's your Halloween costume?
Hold on. It takes a quick second. Here we go. I'm Mookie Betts in the World Series.
But
do you get it?
I do. Weird. Yeah.
All right, Pete. Well, have a great Halloween out there, and thank you very much for hopping on. A quick note that I always make to you guys as we head into holiday weekends and stuff like that. Please be safe. Halloween is on a Friday night. Uber to wherever it is that you're going. If you prefer Lyft, you can do Lyft. I don't care. Just don't drink and drive. Please be safe out there. There's going to be kids walking around on the streets. There's going to be all kinds of crazy stuff is going to be going on. Just be safe, have your fun, and do so safely. And then, enjoy the Laker game tonight. So
let's go. Let's get a couple wins this weekend.
This has been this is it for this week of the Lakers Lounge podcast and the content that we create here. Pete has been killing it. Him and Darius on LFR have been really, really good. So check out their show as well. Pete, you've been doing playback too, right? So check out.
If you want to watch me be crazy live and cuss at my TV, then you got a place to do that.
I keep on telling myself that I'm going to pop on there sometime and even at the very least bug you from the comment section. But yeah, I've really enjoyed just watching. I was going to do playback this year, but I just really enjoyed just watching the game, not
It's
having
really
to
nice
create content for it.
to do that. Yeah, for sure.
Have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Make somebody else's, and we will talk to you Sunday night. I think the Lakers play again on Sunday, so we will talk to you guys after that game. Be good, everybody.